Alright boys, what's happening? Welcome back to another episode of the F1 2021 My Team series here in Season 2. It's round 16, the USA Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas. The day I am recording this is actually the day after the real life Circuit of the America Grand Prix race over in Austin, Texas. Max Verstappen picking up the win there. What a race that was, what a drive from both Lewis and Max in that Grand Prix right there. You can see the vehicle comparison chart anyway in our screen right here. We are third currently in the chart. Mercedes racing ahead of us now. We have obviously not upgraded our facilities for quite some time. We have 11,000 resource points in the bank to upgrade, but there's nothing to upgrade because we need to upgrade our facilities first. So we're going to go ahead and pick up a facility upgrade in the chassis department and the aerodynamic department. And then we can go ahead and get into the Grand Prix. Last year we finished P11 in this Grand Prix, but we did get fastest lap of the race also. So we do have some pace around the USA circuit. Hopefully we can replicate that this year with a faster car, a much better car compared to the end of last season. Hopefully we can improve on that P11 spot and get some points, maybe even a podium. Highly unlikely with the speed that the Mercedes and the Red Bull have been pulling out in the last few races, but we can always hope, can't we? With a 99 rated driver in our second seat in Nico Rosberg. So hopefully Nico can do something in quali here. And as we come out in qualifying, boys, for this Grand Prix, you can see in the bottom right straight away, I've noticed it's orange. And we have forgot to put the correct engine on. We had our practice engine in, which was like 60% wear on most of the compartments, or what are they called, like pieces of the engine, I guess. If you remember back to the Russian GP in our season this year, in Season 2, I did the exact same thing. Absolute idiot mistake from me to forget to change the engine back before quali. But we go ahead and change our ICE there, which gives us a 22 place grid penalty, even though when I clicked to change the ICE, obviously we were in park fairway conditions, but I clicked it and it said there's no penalty for this action. So I thought, you know what, we'll do it. 7 minutes. There's 15 minutes in the session. We have a few laps at the end of the session with a brand new ICE in the car. But we go ahead and do that. Change just the ICE, which Bottas did and got a 5-place penalty for this season. Obviously at the USA Grand Prix. I mean, he wasn't in park fairway conditions. He changed it before the race. But still, we've changed it. It said there's no penalty for this action. And we've got a 22-place grid penalty, which is just bizarre. Anyway, we come out to set a lap in Q1, just in case, you know, anyone else takes a penalty. We can try and finish or start the race above them. Obviously, it happened this year as well. I keep relating it back to the real life GP because it was just yesterday. Alonso, Sebastian Vettel, and George Russell all taking grid penalties, but they did set a time in Q1 because whoever sets the fastest time in Q1 out of those three starts ahead, because obviously they all had 22-place grid penalties, but 20 place in real life. Obviously, there's not 22 drivers in real life, only on this game. Anyway, yeah, so good race this season in America. Hopefully we can replicate that today in our video. We'll have to find out. We will go ahead and change our whole engine at the end of this Q1 session anyway, because we did have another few components to change. I just wanted to get a lap in. It did feel quite fast, you know. I'm watching it back now and it looks fast, you know. I'm hitting all my braking points, hitting majority of the apex. Go a bit wide there, missed the apex a little, but this section here completely flat out. The downforce on these cars is ridiculous. We can take this completely flat out here. And a lot of laps in the race I didn't take it flat out, you know. And we come round there carrying 120 mile an hour speed through that corner, the same speed that they do in real life. We had a bit of a wobble on the exit. But through the last corner, I'm thinking that's a very fast lap. It only puts us P19. It's only good enough for P19 in this session here. But we go for a second push lap as Latifi comes out of the pits. We're on a push lap. He's on an out lap. Just came out of the pits. So, of course, I'm expecting his team to get on the radio and tell him to get out of the way. But he's looking very slow coming through the S's here. And we go straight into the back of Latifi there. Now, that's my fault, you know, for going into the back of Latifi. But I did not expect Latifi to sit in the middle of the racing line while I'm on a flying lap. I expected his team to tell him, get out the way, you know. But Latifi, absolute buffoon. If you remember in Season 1, we collided with him in Belgium and he ruined our last flying lap in Belgium as well. Absolute idiot. Let's get to the race and see where Nico qualified.
In one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, the fabulous Austin, in the great state of Texas. The circuit itself 14 miles southeast of the city centre and home to the US Grand Prix since 2012. the latest in a long list of iconic tracks to have that honour. It's the Circuit of the Americas then, situated 14 miles outside the great city of Austin. This is the 3.6-mile lap with 20 corners, 10 each to the left and to the right, and top speeds of around 200 miles per hour. Overtaking opportunities are available into turns 1 and 12, especially with that rear wing DRS wide open. Now, Anthony Davidson, I wonder, might we be in for some early pit stops today from the midfield teams, all trying to put some pressure on or disrupting things for the leaders up front?
If you're in the middle of the pack, you know, you got your own race to run, I don't think they're going to be thinking about causing trouble up front. However, closer to the head of the pack, don't be surprised to see some split strategies. If you're running second and third, for example, bringing one car in for an undercut while leaving the other one out there longer can put a lot of pressure on the leader and maybe force them into an error.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Valtteri Bottas and Ocon, Vettel, Stroll, Tsunoda and Lando Norris. They've taken a grid penalty. Giovinazzi, Rosberg, George Russell and Ricciardo. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Gasly, Mick Schumacher, Nicholas Latifi and Carlos Sainz. Verstappen, Mazepin, they've taken a grid penalty. Tigtum and the owner driver. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
We're still in with a chance of winning the title. We need you to push as hard as you can in the 5 remaining races.
So boys, we do start from the very back of the grid, P22, Nico Rosberg in P12. Something tells me that Nico took a grid penalty because I think he would have qualified higher up than that. The two Alpines in P4 and P6, complete opposites of this year because the Alpines looked absolutely terrible around this circuit this year. But it is lights out and away we go. Can we get off to a good start at the back of the grid? Nico Rosberg looks like he's made up a place already off the start on Giovinazzi and heading down into turn 1 now. There's somebody's front wing flying across the track there as we head into turn 1. It looks like the Williams next to us. There's debris all across the track. Would not be surprised if there was a virtual safety car or a full safety car to come out after that. And we are up into P17 after turn 1. We've made up 5 places already. Send one up the inside as we come through the S's now. We're on the gearbox of Daniel Ricciardo and we can see there it is the Williams of Mick Schumacher that is missing a front wing towards the back of the grid there. Absolute chaos into turn 1. We can see a replay on board with us of the start of that race there. As we get into it, we get off to an okay start in the first stage, but that second and third stage, Dan Ticktum on our right, a lot better, even overtaking Mazepin there. But as we go to send up the inside, Mick Schumacher makes contact with the McLaren there. You can see Mick Schumacher, I don't know what he was thinking, and his front wing is completely demolished, completely gone off that Williams car, and we can see it flying through the air now as we push through. Lucky to not pick up a puncture. There was a lot of debris just on our right there. Max Verstappen flying up as well. Max Verstappen's up into P15 ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. Verstappen down in P19 after a grid penalty. Absolutely crazy starting grid again, same as last race. If you missed the last race, go ahead and check that out. There was another crazy looking grid in Japan. We're getting to that late part of the season now where a lot of teams start to take grid penalties. If you remember last year in Mexico as well, in season 1, we did start P2 on the grid in Mexico because of people taking grid penalties. Mexico will be the next Grand Prix, so hopefully we can start high up in there again as we send one down the inside. And Daniel Ricciardo, very nice overtake into the left-hander hairpin there. And now we tuck him behind the slipstream of Max Verstappen heading down the straight. We're going to use a lot of ERS to try and overtake Verstappen before we get to this downhill braking zone at the end of the straight and just about make it there. The straight line speed of that Red Bull improved significantly this year compared to the previous seasons. I did not expect it to be so hard to pass that Red Bull in a straight line, but we are now up into P15. We have made up a lot of places off the start. Remember, we started P22, so this is a fantastic first lap from us in the opening stages of this race on the 2-stop strategy. As you saw, our engineers suggested soft medium or soft hard as the only strategies, and in real life it was definitely a 2-stop strategy. So I'm thinking, yeah, on the game, 2-stop is the way to go around America. We'll find out later on in the race if the 2-stop was the way to go as we chase down the Williams of George Russell, who I thought we'd easily pass on this straight here before we get into turn 1. We're going to send it into turn 1. a lot harder to pass that Williams than I did expect. That Mercedes power unit has received some massive upgrades towards this back half of the season. The Ferrari power unit in our car lacking behind a little bit. As we get to lap 3, DRS is now activated on this lap, of course, if you are within 1 second of the car in front of you, as we chase down Pierre Gasly, who is the car in front, in that very slow AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri have had a very stinky season this year. The car has not been the greatest, very close to the backfield, the very backfield. You know, even Williams overtaking AlphaTauri in the vehicle comparison chart, but Pierre Gasly, fantastic driver, working wonders with what he's got to drive. Pierre, though, we're going to get DRS on Pierre. Giovinazzi in front of Pierre as well. And man, we are looking to overtake as quickly as possible because he's in a very slow car. As we head down now into the end of the straight, we can't pass Pierre, but we get a nice exit out of there. Have a little look up the inside. It's not going to be on. It's a very difficult corner to try and overtake on, but we're just going to stick behind Pierre. A little look up the inside again, not a corner you want to overtake on. Just in front of Giovinazzi, we can see Lando Norris in the other McLaren and Nico Rosberg in the other Sasuke Gaming or Sasuke Racing car, I should say. As we head now towards the back straight, or the home straight, the pit lane straight, we're going to have DRS yet again on Pierre Gasly as we send a move up the inside. That was very stupid of me. Compromised the exit onto the straight here. We should have just took a normal line. We would have been a bit slower though, because Pierre was going so slow through those corners. But up into turn 1, you can afford to go so late on the brakes. You know, it's going uphill. You've got the wind coming from the front as you head up that hill there as well, so you can afford to go so late on the brakes into turn 1 in America. And we do that and pass Pierre Gasly. Now we chase down Giovinazzi. Now this track, if you did watch the last episode, if you haven't, like I say, go back and watch that in Japan, because, you know, I'm not going to spoil it. Go back and watch that race. I'll give you 5 seconds to go back. In fact, no, I won't. Watch it after this video if you haven't seen it. Finish this one first. Anyway, we had mechanical failure in Japan. I've just spoiled it, but go back and watch it anyway, because it's entertaining. What I was going to say was the S's section, Sector 1 in Japan, so difficult to drive on controller. In my opinion, I find it so difficult to do. Even Maggott and Beckett sometimes it's so hard to do it on controller, as Giovinazzi tries to cover off the slipstream there. As we head towards the end of the straight, we go very late on the brakes. Giovinazzi tries to send one back up the inside, but we manage to stay ahead and pass the Alfa Romeo of Giovinazzi. Anyway, like I was saying, the S's section in Japan, very difficult, replicated here in COTA, obviously, as Sector 1 as well. So hard to do on controller. Cannot wait to get a wheel and pedal setup. Hopefully that will be a lot easier once we do get that Fanatec wheel and pedal setup going. Just find it so difficult to do S's. You know, obviously it is a very tricky technical section with very smooth steering input needed, and on a controller with an analog stick you can't really replicate smooth steering inputs. As we cross the line, start lap 5, we are in P10. We could have sent one up the inside of Lando there, but we look to go around the outside in turn 1, and that's never a good move. No traction on the outside there. Lando stays ahead. Nico, our teammate, up 2 places from the starting grid as well. He's up into the points. Hopefully we can both finish in the points in this race as we chase down Lando Norris coming through the SS section here. As you can see, we're going to have DRS on Lando, hopefully, if we can stay within that DRS range. And like I say, strategy will play a massive part of this race. We do have Nico in front, and we can't obviously choose our teammate's strategy, which is unfortunate, or see what strategy our teammate is running, which is something Codemasters could consider for a next game, you know, as we get a nice slipstream and DRS activated there down the straight. And we're going to pass Lando Norris with ease before the end of the straight, and it looks like somebody else looking to make a move at the end of the straight there. It's Yuki Tsunoda on Esteban Ocon, making a pass on Ocon at the end of the straight there. And now we have Lance Stroll, Ocon and Tsunoda in front of us and Nico. We need to clear these cars as quickly as possible, please, Nico, because these are very slow cars, holding us up from getting to the top 6, which is where we would really like to finish the race. If we can finish in the top 6 from P22, I think that is classed as a dub, if you'd ask me. So hopefully we can get past Nico, or Nico can get past these guys, and we can all just make overtakes, you know, as we come towards the back straight. Obviously we have a lot of straight line speed in this car, even if some of the cars have better straight line speed. We're going to send it up the inside of Nico Rosberg there. I just wanted to clear him, get him out the way. You know, we're going to have DRS on Lance Stroll, tuck into the slipstream, use a lot of battery charge, heading into turn 1. It's going to be the casual overtake into turn 1 up the inside. I have to slow down a lot because Esteban Ocon we nearly made contact with there. heading through the S's again. Now we're up into P9 at the end of lap 6, heading towards the pit window in a few laps. But up into P9, up into the points from P22 on the grid. Absolutely stupendous race pace, if you'd ask me. And we're still going green in the sectors every single lap. So this is absolutely fantastic. We're going to have DRS yet again on Esteban Ocon. Hopefully we can pass him and maybe catch Yuki Tsunoda before the end of the straight. A very long straight here in USA. Very long straight indeed. And when you get that DRS activated, you hit crazy speeds. I think we hit like nearly 220 miles per hour or something, you'll see now, with the battery activated as well and tucked into the slipstream. We're going to go up to 11, 212, 213, 213 miles an hour we maxed out at as we go around the outside of Ocon into this corner, and Ocon keeps the inside line. Good defensive driving from Esteban Ocon, someone we have a lot of battles with in this series from season 1 and season 2. We've had a lot of battles with Esteban Ocon, and he tends to be a horrible driver. I think he's got like 60 awareness on his card. The last time he crashed with someone as well, he did downgrade his awareness, I think, by like 30 points as we make a fantastic overtake up the inside there. Can we make it stick? Ocon comes over, then he makes contact with us, nearly flies into the side of us. Absolutely brilliant overtake there. We go full throttle round them three, like it's like a triple apex on that corner there, and it's full throttle through the whole thing. Ridiculous downforce needed on a car to do that. Heading down the home straight now, up into turn 1. Esteban Ocon tucks in behind us. He's not going to try and make a move into turn 1. Great overtake. Daniel Ricciardo actually made that exact same overtake on, I think, Carlos Sainz in this year's USA Grand Prix. Exact same corner, flat out up the inside. So satisfying to make an overtake like that. Really fun overtake to make. And now we chase down Yuki Tsunoda, looking to stay within that 1 second gap of Yuki as we head down the hill now towards the DRS detection zone. We are going to be within that 1 second gap. If we clear Yuki though, we'll be up into P7, and Sebastian Vettel, who is in P6, is 4 seconds ahead, so a big gap to Sebastian there. We get our DRS open now, using a lot of battery charge as well to try and catch Tsunoda before the end of this straight. Up into P6 would be in a very nice position to be, or up into P7 I should say. He comes across to cover the inside, and we go very late on the brakes. We're going to go off the track almost. We managed to keep it on the track there, and Tsunoda takes the position back. You know, very late on the brakes. Fernando Alonso did a very similar move on Giovinazzi this year. Went so late on the brakes at the end of the straight there, about 50 meters too late. And that is exactly what we've just done there. But at the end of lap 7, we're going to have DRS down the pit straight, and we are going to catch Yuki Tsunoda, who does not have DRS on anyone, of course. He gives us the outside line heading into turn 1, and we're going to go around the outside of Yuki. Can we make it stick? Yuki has a little wobble on the exit, but he's going to stay ahead. You know, the inside line, definitely where you want to be. And he pushes us off the track a little bit there. We have to avoid a collision with Yuki Tsunoda as we head through the S's. A bit wobbly through this section now, because Yuki has thrown us off through that section. Very slow. We got on the throttle too early there as well. But good defensive driving from Yuki Tsunoda. Very good defensive driver in real life as well. Costing Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen equally a lot of time in this year's Grand Prix, trying to overtake Tsunoda. Very good defensive driver, but coming through the hairpin left there, we are right on his gearbox, almost made contact. We were that close to him, and now we are going to have DRS activated, and we're going to go around the outside here and make an easy pass on the AlphaTauri. Finally, you know, heading towards the hairpin again, or like it reminds me of Bahrain turn 10, that turn there at the end of the straight. That's probably what they based it off, because as I say, COTA is a combination of a lot of like different parts of different circuits on the calendar year, you know. So we come across the line in for lap 9, Bottas, Vettel, or not Vettel, Alonso in the pits there, so we gain a few places. We're up into P5 after a few people pit. Fernando Alonso had to retire from this year's USA Grand Prix, even though he was going for that overtake award, the Crypto.com overtake award. As we head into the pits, Charles Leclerc in P3, Lewis Hamilton now in P3, going onto hard tyres. Now, everyone started on the softs, I think. Pretty much everyone on the grid started on the soft tyres. So to see people going onto the hards right now is scary to me, bro, because I'm thinking they might be going for a one-stop strategy, as we have a 1.8 second pit stop there. Fantastic pit stop. We're going to come out of the pits as a lot of people pit behind us. We're going to come out in P12. Yeah, so now I'm scared that people are going to be going for the one-stop strategy while we're on a two-stop. We're going to be at a disadvantage because the one-stop on F1 2021, the game, is so overpowered compared to the two-stop. You know, tyre wear doesn't even really matter, bro, to be on faster tyres at the end of the race. the one-stop strategy is so OP.
Taking damage to the side pods. Expect to feel a little drag.
So we get a message from Jeff there saying there's damage to the side pods. I don't even know where we would have picked that up from. That is very disappointing. I do not remember making contact with anyone. But as we head down the straights here, like he said, we're going to experience drag, and heading down the straight, we struggle to even hit 200 mile an hour, even with the battery activated. You know, we max out here at like 198 mile an hour. We struggle to even hit 200 mile an hour down the straight. We're definitely feeling the drag, having to use a lot of battery down the straights just to try and keep up with people, as Tsunoda and Norris come out of the pits on hard tyres as well, looking like a one-stop strategy. So now I'm thinking, has the team fucked us over with strategy, boys? Have they fucked us over with strategy? Because if everyone else is on a one-stop, we're on a two-stop, that is not going to be good for us. I would have took the one-stop strategy all day, especially starting from P22 on the grid. Would have took the one-stop all day over the two-stop, you know. But this second stint now, we're on soft tyres again, and compared to the first stint, we had great pace in the first stint. You saw we got up to P6 or P7 or something like that from P22. As Hamilton comes into the pits here on lap 12 and sets hot soft tyres, or gets a new set of soft tyres. Vettel coming out of the pits on mediums here as well. But yeah, so this is why Lewis Hamilton did pit. He was on the hard tyres, one-stop strategy. Coming out of the pits is Sergio Perez, and Hamilton and Perez making contact at turn 1 on lap 11. So on lap 12, Lewis Hamilton has to box for a new front wing. That's going to cost Lewis a lot of time in the race, and now Lewis Hamilton is way behind us and way behind a massive train. You can see in the bottom left, he's just came out of turn 1 as everyone else was already ahead. Now we're chasing down Vettel. We are on faster soft tyres, but like I say, the stint here as we take a big jolt as we hit one of the curbs there through the S's probably caused some damage to the under tray of the car there. That was a massive bump over those curbs. But yeah, this soft tyres set right here, I don't know if it was the drag on the car, whether it was that floor damage we possibly picked up there. This stint right here was so bad, it felt undrivable, the car, as we head up the inside of Sebastian Vettel into turn 1. We're going to make a move on the veteran Sebastian Vettel, and we are up into P5. And as we go over the curbs again there, the MFD flashes up, boys. So that suggests to me that we do have damage to the under tray of the car, which is very, very unfortunate to pick up side pod damage and floor damage. You know, that massive bump over the curbs on the previous lap might have just cost us, as Mick Schumacher goes out of the session here. Mick Schumacher in the Williams there in our season, of course. Probably given Max Verstappen the win in USA this year by giving him DRS. He held him up a lot, but he gave him DRS to make up for that as we go ahead and pass Fernando Alonso, who is also in the pits. It looks like Alonso is on the two-stop strategy. He's on mediums as he comes out of the pits there. We are still on our soft tyres on lap 17 of the race. Maybe we should have pit earlier because the undercut seems to be the way to go, as we are losing time now to the medium tyre runner Sebastian Vettel behind us, who he works so hard to overtake. Now Vettel goes ahead and takes that position back with DRS, of course, as we head towards the end of the straight. Can we go for the switch back here at the end of the straight? No, we can't. Vettel is going to have the better exit there as we head towards the end of lap 17. This might be our lap to box as well. I'm not too sure what lap we did box, and we have a little look up the inside there. Would have been a recipe for disaster if we sent one up the inside on Vettel there, though. But like I say, this stint right here on these soft tyres was so poor. We were so slow, losing almost a second a lap to our best lap time, which is very bizarre. I did not expect to see such a bad time delta sheet, you know, from this stint on the soft tyres. I expect us to continue that pace, but we get a great exit out to the final corner there. DRS and ERS active as we head up into turn 1, past Sebastian very easily on the straight, back up into P4, but obviously that is not a net P4 because we still have to box again. And Charles Leclerc up in P2, 15 seconds ahead. Charles Leclerc almost a whole pit stop ahead of us now, heading down the back straight again. Sebastian makes a move up the inside. Can he make this stick this time? Can we go for the cutback again on this one? Sebastian has a bad exit off the straight, and he almost makes contact with our front wing there, possibly clipped the end plate. We did go ahead and check in the replays, but he didn't make any contact with us there. Very close, very similar to Daniel Ricciardo and Carlos Sainz battling through this exact section of the track. And that is where Carlos picked up damage to his front wing. Very unfortunate for Carlos. I thought he had a great race. Carlos Sainz, one of the most consistent drivers of this season so far in the real life Formula 1 calendar. Possibly our teammate for season 3 of the My Team series as well. Fernando ALONSO on brand new medium tyres. He is going to be catching us from behind now. He's within DRS range. We're going to send it up the inside into turn 1 against Sebastian Vettel, of course. This is our box lap. Track position before your box is very key. We go ahead and overtake Vettel. Hopefully he holds up Alonso. Hopefully we can pull ahead of the two of those guys there. But yeah, the damage to the floor and the damage to the side pod, just not what you like to see, as Vettel and Alonso passes down the home straight now. Max Verstappen goes past us on the hard tyres, and so does Lewis Hamilton on the soft tyres there, who has the fastest lap of the race on those fresh soft tyres. Lando Norris also makes it past us as we get our medium tyres on 2.4 seconds on the pit stop. Carlos Sainz and Nico Rosberg are going to pass us as we're heading out to the pit lane now. Daniel Ricciardo coming up, heading into turn 1. We're going to massively lock up, coming out to the pits there, heading into turn 1 to try and get the rotation in. And Daniel Ricciardo on hard tyres is going to be right behind us now. We're down in P11, trying to chase a 4-second gap now to Nico Rosberg, who I think was on a one-stop strategy. Nico Rosberg 4 seconds ahead, showing how powerful that strategy was to get the undercut and to get the one-stop strategy going. It has absolutely ruined our race pretty much to not get suggested the one-stop strategy from the team. I didn't even consider it, and Lewis Hamilton comes into the pits yet again here on lap 21. So this is very weird for Lewis. He's going to come in for another set of soft tyres, I do think. So Lewis coming out of the pits just behind Lance Stroll now. Perfect track position for us, for Hamilton to come out. You know, Hamilton behind you is not something you want to see in a Grand Prix. That is a very scary sight. Carlos Sainz manages to pass Nico Rosberg. Carlos was getting held up a lot by Nico. Nico a lot slower than Carlos, but now we're battling with Daniel Ricciardo, same way. Rosberg is battling with Carlos Sainz, same way. Lance Stroll is battling with Lewis Hamilton. There's 3 battles going on here from P8 down into P13. Cars absolutely going for it, and Lewis Hamilton manages to make the pass on Lance Stroll and stay ahead of him as we go wide through turn 1 there, come back onto the track. We managed to stay ahead of Ricciardo, but just about. And Lewis Hamilton now chasing down Ricciardo. Sainz flying ahead of Rosberg now that he has cleared Nico Rosberg. He's absolutely flying ahead of Nico there, coming through the S's. The car was just so unsettled. The medium tyres weren't like gripping as well as I would have liked them to, you know. And boys, at the start of the race, the first stint was so good. I expected a very, very good result here from this race. There's still 5 laps left. Anything could happen. But heading down the back straight, Daniel Ricciardo, he's going to have DRS on us. Lewis Hamilton is going to have DRS on Ricciardo. We try and break the toe a little. Ricciardo tries to go around the outside, heading into this corner, and we have to tuck in behind Ricciardo. We can't even send it and try and hold position up the inside there because he cleared us so early into the straight. Can we get the move back on Daniel Ricciardo? Get that P11 or P10 spot back for the 1 point. Ricciardo on the hard tyres as well. We should have been faster than Daniel, a lot faster than Daniel, but we just weren't. Can we make a move up the inside here? No, it's not going to be able to work out like the move we did on Esteban Ocon a bit earlier on in the race. Now we have Lewis Hamilton behind us as well, very, very close behind us on soft tyres with the fastest lap of the race. And a charge on Lewis Hamilton is not what we like to see. We are dropping so far back though. Nico Rosberg, who was 4 seconds ahead, has gained a 3-second lead on us now. These medium tyres just not working. This strategy just not good. The damage to the car as well, it's all a bit of a howler as we head towards the downhill section just at the end of the S's. Daniel Ricciardo is going to be out of DRS range. You do not like to see that, you know. And Lewis Hamilton tries to make a move up the inside there. Lewis heading into the hairpin left onto the straight. Can we get the switch back on Lewis Hamilton? We do. Lewis gives us the space to not make contact there as we head out. We're going to have DRS on Lewis as well. So heading down the straight now. Lewis is not going to have DRS, but he's going to have a massive slipstream down the straight, and the Mercedes car this season is so good. But let's get a replay of that overtake that Lewis made, and then as we get the overtake back, Lewis up the inside there, and as we head into the hairpin, we get a lovely switch back. So satisfying to make moves like that on this game, and just in real life as well. If you've ever got a switch back on someone while karting or something like that, it is so satisfying to do. But can we try and catch Daniel Ricciardo, get back into the points? Carlos Sainz is flying ahead of Nico Rosberg now, so Nico doesn't look like he'll get finished any higher than P9, but can we catch Ricciardo? We go slow through turn 1 again, and Lewis Hamilton just goes past us. You know, it was inevitable. Lewis Hamilton is like Thanos. He is inevitable as we come through the SS section again now, trying to keep up the pace. But it is going to be pointless. Lewis Hamilton actually takes Daniel Ricciardo. This is the final lap of the race. Lance Stroll even causes on the final lap of the race. We're going to cross the line there. In P12, I think we finished the race in. Lewis Hamilton finishing in P10, overtaking Ricciardo before the end of the race. Max Verstappen, driver of the day. I was going to say at the start of the video, Max Verstappen is the guy we're racing here. Max was in P19 on the grid. We were in P22. I was going to say Max is the guy we are having the race with. Max is the guy leading the driver's standings, you know, when we wanted to try and take points off him. But Sergio Perez wins the race. It's going to be Charles Leclerc in P2 in the Ferrari and Valtteri Bottas in P3 in the Mercedes there. So yeah, just a weird race, a really weird race. First stint, absolutely flying for race pace. Second stint, might have picked up multiple bits of damage. We definitely had side pod damage, so had a lot of drag on those straights, but might have picked up floor damage as well on the under tray, which would not have been good, and obviously just fucks up the whole aero system in the car. Second stint on the soft, terrible, and we lost so much time on the third stint as well on those medium tyres. So the one-stoppers, you'll see once we see the final standings. As we watch the celebrations, you'll see the final standings. The one-stoppers definitely prevailed here today. Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc, one-stoppers. Bottas on the two-stop though, but still finishing in P3. And yeah, Fernando Alonso also up there, but he's lost a place to Max Verstappen, who was on the one-stop Verstappen. That's a ridiculous drive from Verstappen from P19 up into P4, almost getting on the podium from P19, similar to what he did this year in Sochi in Russia, obviously starting from the back of the grid and finishing P2, was it, in Russia? Crazy. Max Verstappen, just such a good driver. Nico Rosberg finishing the race in P9, getting 2 points for the team. Every point counts. Let's check out the standings. Sergio Perez moves up into P2. It's now Red Bull, Merc in the driver standings. Charles Leclerc moves up in the driver standings, just 4 points behind us now in P5. We're really going to have to work hard towards the end of the season now if we do want to keep that P5 spot, and we're really going to have to work hard to keep P3 in the constructor standings. We've hardly had any good results recently in races, but Ferrari and us are battling for P3, just like Ferrari and McLaren are battling for P3 in the real life constructor standings. Next up is the Mexican Grand Prix. We qualified, we started the race in P2 after a lot of grid penalties last season out. We also finished the race in Mexico in P2. That was one of the best races of last season. If you didn't see that one last season, make sure you check out Mexico from last season. It started to rain. We had a spin. Kimi Raikkonen crashed into us. It was such a good race, and we finished P2. What a race that was. Hopefully we can see some magic in Mexico again. If you have enjoyed the video, boys, please hit like on it. The last few videos have been slacking for likes. If you want me to go back to 3 uploads a week of the F1 series, which I do want to do, but I need you guys to support the series, get us to 10 likes on every episode, then I'll go back to 3 uploads a week. If not, though, I will catch us on Mondays and Fridays every week for a new race in the season. If you have enjoyed, like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll catch us next time. Take it easy.